Hey, what's up YouTube? We have another cross ban list duel video here for you, and we're going to be doing the new FarfaYGO deck coming out in Dimension of Chaos with the FarfaYGO pal EmEm, better known as. So getting right into it, we have card destruction straight off the bat, discarding a ton of pendulum monsters out of the hand and a bunch of dragon rulers. So drawing into some hand traps, etc, etc, you know how it works. Ending with the Stardust. And now to bait out the emptiness, which is fairly obvious, it was instant fusion having to be used, and then Mathematician coming down, sending a dragon. The one-off dragon is just a little tech card that Duncan's using here in his EmEm build. He likes the Mathematicians for being able to send the clowns and stuff for some really nice plays, but not much of a follow-up there. This game one ends very quickly indeed because of the emptiness, and well, John's got his heavy storm for his own emptiness, and at this point it's very simple. Basic Yu-Gi-Oh! Summon bunch of dragon rulers from the graveyard, ditch the dragons from your hand with the babies, special them all out, and attack for game. That's really all there is to it. This is going to be an interesting matchup because we are doing the TCG version with Infinity, however, not just the what we have available. We thought it would be fair to add Infinity to the EmEm deck because when you really think about it, if we're just going by the Dimension of Chaos release, the deck has no real play turn one, other than, you know, spam a bunch of guys like going first. It doesn't really make sense to at least not include Infinity if we're going to be doing, you know, a baby ruler duel. So we thought we would include Infinity because it is announced for the TCG, and of course the ban list will probably change at that point. We're just decided that it would probably make sense, like in terms of fairness, and you know we are getting that Infinity soon. So at this point during the duel, with just some thinking going on for numbers, trying to decide like what the exact best play is. So I think he opts to go for a Dracosack here to pop, just to deny that draw. Actually, I don't think, oh no, yeah, he does use the pop effect. He attacks for a bunch of damage. Oh, actually, it's this wasn't game at this point. Yeah, I don't think he had enough rulers in the graveyard to go for that, but he draws for turn, and with only 3 cards in hand, going up to 4 with the FarfaYGO dude. Not many options here. He does go for the Mirror Conductor. Mirror Conductor is a little bit of a strange one, because of the fact that well, he opts to not go for it anyway. Mirror Conductor will come up later in the duel anyway. So Juggler is going to get the Trick Clown, and on the Trick Clown add, he uses a maxi, and well, he's forced to just play through this anyway, but that's just really nothing like he can do, so he just scoops anyway because like maxi and like all his best play here at this point would just be like Castel the Stardust, etc. So it doesn't really make sense to continue playing. So EmEm goes first here. We decided that he gets to draw to 6 because, well, rulers get to draw for 6 as well. So we thought we'd just kind of make it equal for both players. Just let them both go first because EmEm, you know, doesn't really have that strong of a first turn play. It's got Infinity, but Dragon Rules can kind of play through that. So EmEm opens up with the Scales and special summoning the Wizard, and the Wizard would have used some really nutty plays and combos here, but he has the Veiler for the Wizard, and at this point instant fusion helps with the Feral Imp as well to make 3 guys on the field to go into Infinity turn 1. And yeah, so as you can see here, this is like the standard opening of like the EmEm deck, and if you think about it, it's not really that good against like rulers because, well, it's just one card to kind of grind through, and then you're sort of free to do everything that you want after that. So we thought it would be fair to include the Infinity for this one matchup and go from there afterwards. Sorry about the glare as well. I believe that's a Gold Sark that's just come down. Gold Tarking the Blaster for the to search out the Flamville Guard. Oh, I think he's changed his mind there. Yeah, he goes Tidal for Tidal. Activates another card there. I'm not sure what that is. Oh, he card destructions, and then he chains Super Rejuvenation. And at this point, EmEm opts to negate the Super Rejuvenation with the Nova, because I think he would be drawing 4 cards in the end phase at this point. Or something like that. It was quite a high number, so I think that maybe in hindsight was not the best play. You know, but the card destruction was pretty much going to like ditch a lot of cards, and at that point, like in the end phase, like he's just gonna draw to 6, and unless like the EmEm player can kill the Dragon Rulers, it wouldn't make sense to not negate the Super Rejuve, because the card destruction is going to, you know, put a lot of plus into the Super Rejuve. Because card destruction, of course, will trigger the numbers of Super Rejuve, but yeah. So we see at this point baiting out the Nova, and well, rulers come down, and a big eye takes the Infinity, and then it's like, oh wow, and Infinity stealing away the Feral Imps as a material. So attacking for some numbers here, and on one card, against the Dracosac Infinity is not really so much you can do there. Dracosac pops one of the scales, pops the Mirror Conductor. And the Mirror Conductor, what that does, I think it's the same effect on the field, but basically you can swap the attack and defense of a monster, or you make the attack and defense equal to the lowest stat. So because Infinity has a very low stat, you can use Mirror Conductor to reduce its attack. So Nova, Infinity is forced out to use its effect there, just to bait it out. We Pendulum Summon for 2, and it looks like the best play going forward here will be to overlay into Castel, spinning the Dracosac and attacking over the Infinity. Because its attack is currently, I think it's 16. I believe Infinity's defense is 16, so it's going to have 16 defense. So Castel shuffles away the Dracosac. Juggler can trigger as well in the graveyard to get a little search. And it gets Hat Tricker. Specials on the Hat Tricker, just attack over the Dracosac token. And yeah, pass. So doing pretty well there to play through that, surprisingly. But really, it's just a losing game. While you can clear the board, like, you just next turn. He's got Super Rejuvenation hand, summon a bunch of rulers. Like, there isn't really much EmEm can do against like that recuperation by Dragon Rulers. So going first here, we see the Skullcrabat getting Wizard, I think, and then the Lizard draw activated in the scales, which pops itself to get a draw. Draco Slayer comes down, popping the Wizard to add another Wizard, and activating those scales. Pendulum summoning out 2 guys. Wizard using his effect, I think, at this point. I don't think he used the effect. So he overlays 3 into... oh no, he goes for Feral Imps first to get at that Gigabyte, and then Trick Clown triggers. And you special the Gigabyte from your hand, and then you Ptolemaeus, you rank up into Nova, and then Nova into Infinity, and also have Instant Fusion here at this point. So Instant Fusion for Nodin to get the Trick Clown out, and you make Dweller. So as you can see here, TCG wise, this is probably the best play possible that you can have as an EmEm player. And that's only if we assume that the ban list will be the same until January. So arguably this deck may not be that strong come Docks, since Necros and Dolls do have a really good matchup against this deck. Now of course floating rank 4s is always cool and stuff. However, there just really isn't much in way of its, like, you know, board making currently. So of course we have in this duel, we have the Infinity, but you know, that's not going to be the case until like January anyway. So we see some babies being ditched, I believe. Some dragon rulers being summoned. You all know like what this is. Normal summon a Veiler here. I'm not sure what Infinity negated. I think it was just the summon of Tempest or something. But at the same time, that triggers like all the banished dragon rulers, so you get a bunch of searches as well. So we normal summons Scrap Dragon with that Veiler. Synchro summons Scrap Dragon with that Veiler. Attacks over the Nova. Scrap Dragon pops Feral Imps with the Scrap Dragon pops Feral Imps with the set. You have the Emptiness, and then he sets again, which happens to be another Emptiness. The Draco Slayer, using its effect, get out another Mirror Conductor. Mirror Conductor at this point I think is using its effect as, again, to make Scrap Dragon's attack 2000 because its defense is 2000, so Mirror Conductor will lower its attack, of course, and it just means that the Dweller with the 2200 attack, because of Nodin as a material, is going to be able to easily attack over that Scrap Dragon with the attack boost. Emerald as well being made here, putting back all the guys required for Nova. And you draw one. Hat Tricker is Trick Clown is down. Then he Pendulum summons 3, and then he just with those recycled materials that Emerald put back, he makes another Nova, and Rulers draws for turn. And Abyss Dweller is using that in the standby phase, and at this point he's activating Tempest's effect by banishing Radox and Blaster, so he's considering whether or not to negate at this point. But again, it's probably best to just negate, because Tempest, all that's going to do is just summon itself out and crash, and you've got like 2 more rulers in your hand. So probably was the best course of action to negate. Not much else you should really do there. You know, and with 1 card, well, 2 cards now, of which are known, there really isn't much left. So going into game 4, we have Dragon Rulers starting off with Sacred Sword, banishing Tidal to draw 2, and just considering whether to add the baby or the big Tidal off the banish effect of Tidal. So yeah, at this point, this far into the match, it's actually been a little bit surprising that EmEm has managed to keep up at this point. We did have quite a serious brick from the Dragon Rulers, opening like the double Emptiness and 2 rulers, and like not much else. It's not particularly good. So we see the boulders dropped with the Blaster to special out Radox from grave with the Maxi chained. So you not really many options at this point. You could go in hard anyway and just play through the Maxi, because, well, at worst they're just going to clear your board, but EmEm probably can't kill you. Of course they have a lot of OTK potential, but probably not through Draco Sack and 2 tokens. So at this point, Jordan's considering his options here, and he decides, like, why not just to play through the Maxi anyway. So he goes into a Synchro Summon with a Stardust, I believe. Thought Ruler, yep, so Thought Ruler and the set Emptiness. Thinking that was probably worth it to play through the Maxi, but maybe not so much at this point, because there's a preemptive Emptiness on the summon of Hat Tricker. However, the Regeki comes down, and it's basically a blowout at that point. So Juggler's detached from the Feral Imps to get the Gigabyte Juggler effect, gets Mascot. Draco Slayer with the mascot and the scales, you know that's nothing but absolute squeaky fun time. So mascot gets popped, getting another one out of the deck, and then specialing a clown out of the deck. So at this point we know it's game, but any slip up here could be a little bit dangerous. There's a lot of things you got to play around. You got to play around the Scarecrow, because you know Dragon Rulers did main that in that Dragon Ruler format. But we see a Pendulum summon out for Infinity. Well, Ptolemaeus. Ptolemaeus into Nova into Infinity. Trick Clown comes down, and then a special Gigabyte. Infinity is made, of course, to play around that Scarecrow, just in case he has it. And Trapeze, yeah, makes it, seals the game. So really not much in it there. Maxi, of course, absolutely decisive and important card in the Dragon Ruler mirror. And against Dragon Ruler is important because the entire deck is completely reliant on special summons. All its big boars, all its trademark plays, highly reliant on the special summons. So we see Tempest ditching itself in Tempest, and then the two babies coming down, so that's 3 ditches at this point. Dracosac being summoned, standard plays of course. And then we're seeing summon of rulers here, deciding which one to banish, which one to summon. Double Dracosac are of course very standard plays from this deck, but I think that he opts to go for Stardust at this point. I don't think he had the fuel for that second Dracosac. All those rulers had used their effects that turn, I believe. Yeah. So Synchro Summon instead with the Flam Velguard, sorry. Mine went blank there. So at this point you could go for Stardust, go for Thought Ruler, probably Stardust, just usual kind of good play. End phase, here we see the power of the Dragon Rulers, Super Rejuvenation, drawing 6, chaining into another Super Rejuvenation. So 12 cards drawn there, ditching 5 dragons and a Maxi, I think. Obviously the hand size limit, the only thing preventing the deck from being absolutely insane. We see a Veiler come down on the Skullcrabat. Instant Fusion being used. So Instant Fusion brings out the Nodin just to make that XE play into Castel. Castel using effect, but that gets Veilered again. Draco Slayer using its effect to try pop the mascot. That gets negated by Stardust Dragon. And at this point we see the Ignister being synchro summoned with the Pendulum summon Draco Slayer. And it uses effect to pop a scale and to shuffle one card your opponent controls. I believe it doesn't target either, which is pretty cool. So it pops the mascot, which brings out Trick Clown, and it shuffles away the Dracosac, and Zephyros is brought out from the graveyard, bouncing the scale, getting Feral Imps, making Gigabyte, and then Dweller is made as well. So attacking over, hitting for a bunch of damage, and we can see that despite playing through a double Super Rejuve, this is a really, really good field considering what Dragon Rulers have managed to play through. So the only way he's able to out this is if he can make sure that he can at least like summon something big enough to summon enough rulers, sorry, to take the Ignister. Since obviously he can't use his graveyard, you know, which is essentially his second hand, which is chock full of rulers. But he has the babies in his hand, so he's got enough fuel at this point and enough resources. And at this point, the plays are fairly simple. He can do a synchro summon with a Veiler, I believe he drew for turn, and do an overlay as well. So just considering the best course of action here. However, the only way to get around this Ignister is either Big Eye or Dracosac. You don't really have any other choice. There's nothing from this format that you could synchro summon into that would be big enough or overlay into. So, just considering the options here. I believe that big eye is probably the one that you go for. Yeah, so you go for the big eye. Detach a blaster, steal the ignister, summon Veiler, and overlay into, I believe that's a Thought Ruler. So Thought Ruler attacks into the Dweller, and I think it gains 17 or 22 health. I believe it's 17 because I don't think that was a war. I think it's original attack anyway. So he attacks over the Trick Clown, and he brings it back. Oh wait, no, he decides to attack over the Feral Imps instead, not the Trick Clown, because obviously it comes back anyway, so there's no point. And yeah, doing extremely well to play through that board. This was a really good game. So normal summon of the Conductor, preemptive emptiness to make sure there's no overlays. Well, of course he has double emptiness, so what happens is he uses Mirror Conductor's effect to attack over the Ignister. Mirror Conductor attacks over Ignister, and then a second emptiness is dropped, and there really isn't much to do except pass. Heavy Storms his own emptiness. And yeah, you just summon a bunch of Dragon Rulers at this point. Just in case, I think he properly thinks about this, because you do have the Trick Clown to deal with, which is, you know, recurring. That acts as a bit of a wall, so it's not that simple, you know, just to simply attack over. So makes Dracosack here. I don't think he summons the tokens though, because he needs to Big Eye the Trick Clown, because obviously that's just acts as a defensive wall thing. Attacks over with everything, and that is game right there.
Come, face me, give